Welcome to TDD.Academy, and I'm your host, Lancer Kind, over here with solopreneur David Coots. David, I can't help but notice you're dressed a little differently today.
Yeah, well, I have this vacation thing going on, and so I've got my pina colada over here and enjoying it.
Oh, David. That helmet does muffle you a little bit.
Yeah, it does a little bit, but it keeps the sun off my face.
Hey, man, whatever works for you. All right, so what's going on today that's different than last week? This week we're continuing along on our test driving a Android application. We're working in an area that's very difficult to TDD. And it's difficult because, well, it is a little harder than average, but mostly it's difficult because people, they don't spend enough time figuring out how to do it. They give up, they go, it's too hard, I won't do it here, and then they move on to something else. And David, what's the problem with that?
Well, Lance, what usually happens then is nothing else gets TDD'd either. You can't figure out how to test in this situation, and you find several other situations, it's too hard to test in, and next thing you know, you're shipping code, having bugs, and you're having bug reports, and your next release, you'll be spending time fixing bugs instead of just adding new features.
That's true. Yeah, and you've seen on this show that we've worked pretty hard to solve some of these problems because there's not so many people, posting these positive patterns out there. So anyways, if you're creating a text editor, then these are the episodes for you. You'll notice in the earlier ones, we were trying to figure out a good design. The key point was the thing that you can't test, i.e. a view layer, don't put any code in it. That's your goal. Then we created something else that we could put code in. That was the SSN Text Watcher. And that's worked all right. We've had some complications like figuring out how to simulate deleting and typing, and we've also had to learn how to handle the asynchronous calls and then figure out how to test for those. But we figured it out as we went. And that's what developers always do. If they're trying to solve the problem of TDD, they spend time, they figure it out. If they're solving the problem of how do I even make this application take a social security number field, they'll spend time on that to figure it out. So to do TDD, you end up spending time on both things. And how you save time, because it sounds like, wow, we're spending a lot of time, not just on getting the social security text watcher, but we're spending time on some automation. That saves us time because every day we run our tests. And every day, something automatically checks to see if there's any bugs in there. That's not happening on most teams that are only manual testing. All right, so that's the value. And that will speed you up. Anyways, let's soldier on, David. What do you think?
Yeah, sure, let's go do it.
All right, we are ready to add in more functionality. Let's remember where we're at today. Fire up the app in the Arctic Fox build. Actually, David, this looks a lot like that last episode where we had a frozen camera for some reason, and so you spent most of the time like this, intently watching. But today you have the helmet on and a drink. That drink's got to be making your hand a little cold. Anyways, launch succeeded. I suppose we should go over there and check it out. There it is. All right, let's remember what this app does. 1, 2, 3, dash. It adds the dash automatically. Boom. And we can keep adding in social security number. We don't get dashes, so that's some more functionality we need to add. If we hit delete, boom. When you delete the dash, it deletes the number to the right. If you add the number back in, boom, it adds the dash again. I don't think technically we have a test that checks that if you delete and then add that works. So maybe we should fix that gap really quick. All right, let's run our unit tests. That's the other thing. Remember I said how you save time by running your unit tests a lot. How that saves time is you find out immediately as soon as possible when there's a bug. Because quite frankly, folks, you could say every bug in the world is a dumb mistake. The problem is when the mistake happens versus the time when it's discovered, oh, there's a problem. Nobody remembers what happened in between that. It might have been days, weeks, months. Nobody remembers. And so you have to go around and search and spend a lot of time. But with automatic tests checking frequently, if you can find it, you can discover a defect within minutes of making the defect. It's really easy to fix. It drives our cost of bug fixing down to, we can't quite say zero because there's still some effort here, but it drives it down a lot. Okay, so let's take a look at our tests here. Learn how to use delete. That's our learning test. We could delete that when we feel like it. That's not an automated check for our code. So I see adding dash is false, adding dash is true. Those are those checks for asynchronicity. Maybe I should add that in. Adding dash is false, adding dash is true. So these tests are for re-entry, meaning we don't want the code to re-enter after the dash is added. I gotta better pay attention here. So when we add append 1, 2, and cursor position is adding another one. Okay, that's when it's adding a dash. I don't think I want to mess with that. I'm not sure what I just said a moment ago is quite correct, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right, adding the dash is true for the third number, right? 1, 2, 3. User deletes the dash, and the phone deletes the character before the dash. What we don't have is user deletes, the extension of this is user deletes the dash, phone deletes the dash, user enters in another number, and it adds a dash in. All right, so let's go extend that test. And then we can drive some new functionality. So we're adding a test for existing functionality that it already has. And we want to keep it that way. We don't want it to go away. Maybe we added too much functionality. I don't know. On text change, user deletes the dash. Phone deletes character before dash. User adds number. So dash added again. Okay. So that's the same activities. We're going to set up 1, 2, 3. Phone adds the dash after this code is called. And look, we're asserting that the dash is there. Then the user deletes the dash. Phone, let's see, we're asserting, what are we asserting this for? Dash deleted on phone. Okay, we're asserting that this text box got deleted by the user, which is true. And then we run our process. So Android will call into these two functions whenever the text is changed and after the text is changed. And after that, we should have a 1, 2. Now we just have to add another dash. And now this is all getting to be a fairly complicated. This test is getting complicated when we make them that long. Probably have to do some cleaning. We need a new set of these because now my act isn't ready yet and my assert isn't ready yet. Now I have to add in, remember? User adds number, so dash is added again. So we need to add a number again. And how do we do that? We use text box append up here. So we kind of use our source code as a guide of what we did in the past. All right, so we type in text box, text, append. Now append means add on to the end. So I just need to add on to the end another number, right? Because I'm down to 1, 2 according to this fella. So I'm going to add another number. I'll put a 5 in this time. Okay. So when the user hits a button, then the phone has to do things. User adds number. Now the phone has to process it because that's what the phone does. It will call those two functions, and then we'll need to assert that those two functions handled it correctly. Right now, cursor position, I'm at 1, let's see. Gotta start. I'm gonna make this 5 back to a 3 because I think it'll just make my life easier. Okay, number 1, 2, 3. That's position, if I remember right, 0, 1, 2. So my cursor position after pressing a 3 will be position 2. There's no characters to replace. And I am adding a character. It's just like this one up here, actually. The cursor position was 2 here, 0. Oh yeah, that's the same. I'm putting in 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. And I expect to have that back. So my act is here, and my assert is here. And my range is getting big. That's a big kind of smelly test. Smelly, I say it's smelly because it's getting big. And we don't like big tests. They're harder to maintain. You can see how big this is. And when we keep adding more numbers on, we're going to have to maybe start going back and simplifying this code so it doesn't look like a big mess, and we don't want it to be hard to maintain. All right, and let's close. I don't want Kotlin installing that. All right, so let's run this test and watch it. We expect it to pass because we see the functionalities there. I just can tell you that I never wrote a test to confirm that. That was just a happy, lucky situation that that functionality is supported. All right, so let's run our tests and see what happens. If the test is formed right, it'll pass. If not, then we got to go figure out how to make our test form our test correctly so we can do our do those automated checks. All right, they all passed. Sweet. It's got to be the super long one here. Okay. So I like how the tests take milliseconds, but man, they take a long time to get started, though this one wasn't as bad as usual. I'm not a big fan of the time it takes to launch a test on Android. 3 seconds. All right, let's run a timer here. Let's try that again. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,006. Hey, we're down to 6 seconds. I don't know what's going on. David, last time we were doing this took a lot longer. I think it took like almost a minute. Yeah, it must be because I'm on vacation. Oh, David, that must be. Everything's going to maybe run smoothly today, huh? We'll see. We'll see about that. All right, next step. We want to add more functionality to this thing. So let's go for the dash after the next 2 numbers. Yeah, 13 tests. We might have to think about making a second test case. All right. I'm going to go to the very end. T. Oh, stop. Be good to me. Fun. And we're still testing the same thing. We're testing on text changed. Oh, I hope we are. Yeah, on text changed. It's kind of like all of our tests here are on text change, which kind of implies that this whole test class should be called on text change, and we can. That's all it's going to do, because if we're testing other functions, it's going to, it seems like it's going to, we're going to have a really big class here pretty soon. All right, but we'll tackle that when we really get annoyed with it. Right, David? Yeah, I think he nodded his head there. All right, so on text change. Okay, so user adds 1, 2, 3, or it adds for three digits, and then adds 2 more. Let's see. Do we need to write a test where the user adds a fourth digit? I'm thinking about that. I don't think I have to add any code to do that because it's already supported. We saw that with the manual test, but that's a manual test. We don't care about that. So how about user adds fourth digit? And there is no dash, just adds the fourth digit. And then we'll have a fifth digit. Basically, folks, if you're not sure, you add the test, take it out later. I'm sorry, I wish I could say think hard and write as few as possible at the beginning, but the problem is it's usually people write so few tests anyhow that they will end up writing no tests. All right, so let's go back. All right, I want to copy paste something, but let me stretch my brain a little bit. All right, let me look at it. I'm going to look at it. So we have a watcher, a text box, and then we add stuff to the text box. Okay, I should be able to type that in. Some of you may say, Lance, why not add a setup for these things? And that's not a bad point. The problem is sometimes we care about those Booleans and we're testing for that the recursive tests, and those recursive tests have a different setup than the regular tests. So probably in the future we will split this class into two sets: tests that care about a setup like this, and tests that don't care about that setup. Okay, so that's on the top of my mind. Now that we're talking about this, with 13 tests, we're probably gonna have, and we only got the first three characters in there. So let's soldier on it as is, though. Text watcher. Let's see, it's a val. Okay. And we got a text box, which is we're calling a spannable string builder. Okay. So that represents the thing that the user can type on the phone. And now we got to load up our text box. Text box is going to have text where it's going to have 1, 2, 3 dash and the fourth number right there. But that's not the fourth cursor position. All right, that's our setup or range. All right, now we're going to do an assert and or an act, I'm sorry. The act is, boom. Watcher on, okay. Oh, that's interesting. We have to call our after, and then we call our on text watch. There's a technical reason for that. I don't want to go through it again, but we need to call that once per test, and we may call that more than once per test. This kind of initializes things. It has a dual role, working with an API that was given to us. We don't have a choice but to use it. So that's part of the arrange. Oops. Okay. Maybe we want to change that to text like it was before. Possibly true. Okay. And then the act is watcher dot on text changed. And you see me typing all this in from scratch. I'm not going to do it the copy paste cop right now. Not going to do it. No cops today. Why? Because I'm trying to test myself to see if I force myself to type redundant garbage all the time, then I'll probably refactor it so I don't have to keep doing that. All right, so today I'm gonna follow that a little more strictly today. Is that okay, David? Sure, Lance. Excellent. All right, characters and text edit. Wow, that's a weird thing. What do I usually put in there? That does not seem like text box text. That's what I got to put in. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Why is it giving me on text change? Maybe I got the wrong API. On text change. Oh, that sounds right. Okay. I don't know what it's trying to do to me there. I'm just going to ignore it. There. Now IDEs that almost help, sometimes help, or not at all. Cursor position. All right. 0. So we have 1, 2, 3 dash 4. We subtract 1 because we always start with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, cursor position 4. All right. And number of characters replaced, none. Count of characters added. User adds 4th digit. That's 1 more digit. I think I can do that. I'm thinking about how the phone simulates this. I'm asking myself if that's okay, or do I need to add 1, 2, 3 dash and then this? And that's more complicated, and because it's more complicated, I ought to try not to do it and see if it matters. We don't want to complicate our lives unnecessarily. So I think this will be okay. I'm going to pretend on text change was called several times as the user was typing in 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then dash. Well, the user didn't type dash. And then 4, okay? And we may find out that was a bad assumption, but it's the simplest way, so let's try it out. Because if it works, we save time. And even more, we save maintenance costs, folks. Okay, so now we need to do the assert. The moment of truth. Is there assert equals or assert equal? I'm having a, there it is. Assert equals that we have 1, 2, 3 dash 4. That's funny. We don't assert anything crazy. We just expect it to accept the 4 and not do anything special. That's what we expect. And then when text box has toString like that. Okay. Let's run that test. Boom. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7. Wow, why are tests running so fast when David's on vacation? Is it because of Zoom? Is it because we're running Zoom and Pop usually? Now folks, I'm running leaner today. I'm only using some Broadcast Studio software and Android because David's showing up as Darth David today, and for some reason, you can figure that out on your own. I don't need to use Zoom to do this, to have David on the show. All right, the test, did it pass? Yes, it did pass. They're all, oh yeah, I have to watch out when I type on my Broadcast Studio software, I get funny things. Okay, so there it is, it passed again. Now, for those of you who are going like, oh, that's so suspicious. Lance, usually always writing failing test cases left and right. Well, let's watch it fail. What if I stuck something else that doesn't belong there and run the tests? Boom, here we go. 7 seconds. Hey, this is suitable, man. There it is. It failed like I expected. Okay, cool. All right, now, user adds 5th digit. What do we expect to happen? Nothing. And I ask myself, do I really need to write that test? And I'm going like, oh, maybe. I definitely have to write the test that adds the dash. No doubt about it, because I'm going to have to write some code. You saw me do the manual test. It doesn't work. It's not in there. I have to test drive that. But for code that's already there, it's a little fishy. So this is the thinking that goes on. If I don't write the test, am I later going to have a bug and have to spend a whole bunch of time, and we're talking hours, to figure out why the heck it stopped working? And the answer is probably yes. And look how fast I wrote this test here. So I'm thinking good money says write the test again, because that isn't going to take me very much time. And it's all right, folks. This is on stream later on. Oh, I'm doing a copy here. You could say, Lance, I told you that was a bad idea, and it'll be on the show. I can't say no, I can't deny it. But you heard my reasoning. User adds 5th digit. Oh, wait. What's supposed to happen with the 5th digit? Actually, I need this test. Because when I hit the next digit, it's going to put the dash in for me. So I definitely need this test. All right, so we're going to set it up. Let's make the arrangement. All right, watcher. let's check something here. Does every test use a watcher? I could at least stop typing the declaration. That's not very much code saving, but it turns out usually when you start saving a little bit of steps, you end up saving more and more and more. It just kind of snowballs. All right. Everybody's using a watcher. Almost everybody's using a text box. This one is not. I'm going to say that's good enough to put a text box declaration in there too. All right, so let's add that little, all right, right. What was that, David? David said something. What did he say? What was that, David? Yeah, you're right, David. I mean, his mic must not be working too good today. He's right. We ought to stop with the test we're doing now and do some refactoring so we have we have very clear clarity that when we're refactoring that all the tests should pass. That's the simplest case. Otherwise, if I start this test and then I like get it half done and it doesn't work and then I refactor, it's going to be like I run the test, we're going to have to like remember, well, all of them run except for one, right? That's just one extra step to have to remember. We could do that, but turns out we sometimes get distracted and make our lives harder for silly reasons. So let's just, be diligent here. Let's put an ignore on here. There's no code in there anyhow, someone could say, but that's all right. This ignore will mark our spot where we were at. And import that baby. All right, let's do some refactoring. Like David said, like the man said. All right, I think there's probably a setup or a before. It's before. All right, so before each test, we're going to get a fresh variable. But the problem is that variable isn't always initialized the same way. That's a problem. Well, here's the thing. It's not going to be perfect, but in cases where it is different, we just overwrite if we use a variable instead of a value, we can overwrite it. In fact, it has to be a variable, and we can overwrite it. That's a smell, folks. That's a smell that says, hey, you should split this up into its own separate test case. And we will. I'm going to hold off on that one because I want to get this functionality done, and then I will have learned more. And by that time, I think we'll have even more evidence that that smell exists. I could go the other side and do it now, but I don't want to. My gut says learn a little more. Then we pull the trigger on it when we're ready. All right, so this function is to initialize. What am I initializing? I don't know. I'm initializing my watcher and that other guy that I use frequently, text box. So this is going to save me some code, but it's going to cost me a little bit too because there's a few points I have to overwrite what I set up. A few. All right, so we're going to do variables now, and that variable is going to be a watcher, and that watcher in all cases is it's a variable with a late init, I guess, and the other thing I'm late initting is a text box. Okay. See if I can do that in Android. I guess not, huh? Property getter, setter, expected. I don't know. How about that? Type annotation or be initialized or delegated to. Okay, so I need to tell it to type. Okay, told it its type, and then I probably have to do a separate one here. Oh, let's try something crazy. Let's see what we can do with this Kotlin language. Can I do this? Spannable. It's not helping me. That's a bad. That usually means I'm doing something that won't work. Okay. So we told it about its type, and now we're going to initialize it. And it's usually just this case. Notice this test is now a one-liner. Boom. Little simplification there. The text box is usually equal to, see how we do here? Just this, spannable string builder. Okay. Now I have to go through and remove some lines of code, which is really cool because that's less code that I have to look at later. So our range has gotten shorter. Arrange watcher. So watch me carefully. If I delete something that's different than what I just put up there, that's a bad thing. Watcher. Yep. Now this one, it's going to rewrite it. Okay. And because I declared it up there, I think this should not compile. But let's see what it says here on the little light bulb. Yeah. I'm curious. No, it's going to be, should be, I'm going to take it out. I'm confident enough to just go for it. I don't want to come back and redo things as an experiment. Oh, and this one. Now this one I don't need at all. That's cool. And blah, blah, blah. Okay. And need that. Don't need this. And boy, there's some. Oh, yeah. So I have some name changes. Dude, darn, that's two things I have to change. Oops, not that way. Shouts the man at the TV. What's that, David? Oh, okay, I'll use the refactoring browser. Rename, or the refactoring tool. Rename. Oh my God, why can't I see it? How is it hiding from me? You wicked little boy. I don't know. We'll try it in the next one. That's annoying. You wicked little Dickens. Yeah, I'm definitely putting more effort into this than I thought I was going to have to. All right, we don't need this. And now, oh, that's why it probably won't let me rename it when it can't compile. That's typical of refactoring browsers, is they want it compilable before you rename things. So if I'm smarter, here, I'm going to get smarter here. I'll do it now. And refactor, rename, Shift F6. Got to remember that. Run me, there it is, I'm going to do it right now, Shift F6. That did not work. Shift, oh, yeah, I don't know, maybe I did the wrong thing. Oh, you're killing me here. What does this say? Yes, please. That must be a new feature. I like it. I like it. I will not be too aggravated by that. I was like, obviously I wanted to rename it. I was kind of getting annoyed. I've been trying to rename that properly for quite a while now. All right. Shift F6. It is not going to give me my rename functionality, but it's going to give me this. I can work with that. It beats having to hunt around in the context menu drop-downs. Thank you, IntelliJ. I like it. That works for me. New features in my ID. Oops, we want that one. Text box text is gone. Oh, but we got to rename it. So what happens? Do I actually have to hit that Shift F6 or do I just do this? And come on. No. Yeah, okay. So Shift F6 apparently is still necessary. Oh, I've been triggering it wrong. That's why I've been losing it. Okay. Anyways, IntelliJ, thank you for trying to help people who have different keystroke habits. Gotta get rid of this. That was the point. Because I see what you did there. Is if I do the Shift F6 unsuccessfully and I still change the name, you kind of, the ID figures out, like, rookie hair. Is this what you meant? And then you click on it and it goes, there you go. All right. Shift F6. Okay. Now that's interesting. It didn't trigger the way I expected it to. And just do that. I don't know. I thought I figured it out, but it's, you know, IDEs, they have they're like beautiful women. They have their secrets. Someday when you're around long enough, they decide to, they'll fill you in when you need. I don't need to know. Okay, this is upset. What are you upset about, buddy? It just says run it. All right, all these go away. So you can see me deleting a lot of code, and that's good. That means that copy pasting is now been reduced. Now let's see. What do you think, David? Is it gonna work? He wants me to, yeah, he wants me to run the test. Don't assume, Lance, he says. Run the test. And hopefully in 7 seconds, boom. Because I could get spoiled with a 7-second test run. Okay, test, oops, it didn't compile. See that 0? That is a broadcasting on a live stream studio type problem. All right, now let's see if it goes. Still not, what's going on? We have red dot boxes in there, that's why. It is not happy with me. Apparently I missed some of these rascals. We're even making our variables shorter. That was back before I got smarter. I decided to get the refactoring browser employed. All right, don't tell me I did this. Did I make this mistake many times? Ah, yes, apparently I did. Sorry, folks. This is why I need that show intern. Hey, show intern, let me go get a Coke while you update these. I mean, David drinking a pina colada. Why don't I get a drink? Okay, it looks like it might be compiling. I don't know what that little arrow means. Let's run the test and see. Boom. All right. 1 test ignored, 14 passed. Okay. Now, user adds the 5th. We're ready for test drive a new functionality. Yeah. David, you're in the way of my test launcher. I might have to adjust that. Hang on a second. Let's move you a little bit more out of the way. Let's put you in over here. Adjust the camera a little bit. And maybe I'll push me just above the test launcher. All right, let's try that. What do you think, folks? We've relegated David to the corner. You know, that's what he gets for wearing a helmet today and being frozen on his camera. What's that, David? Yeah, I know, it's not your fault. Technology. But you get the corner anyhow. All right, now let's get this done. Next test on text changed. So, remember what we did last time? Oh, I gotta indent that apparently. We are gonna have we already got a watcher, already done, it's in the before. We have a text box, already done, it's in the before. So we're just gonna talk to text box. Hey, text box, let's get you set up. Append, boom. That we have 1, 2, 3, dash, 4. And the user types in a 5. Boom. Now we have some special functionality that we expect. We have some things we wanted this to do. All right, now we gotta initialize our environment. We gotta, like Android, when it calls back to us, it's gonna call some of these things in a funny order. not really a funny order, but I'm calling them in a funny order because of reasons. I don't want to. We went into and about in a past show. All right. Boom. After text change, that's arranged now. Now we're going to act. Act. All right, now we got to get our parameters set up. Text box is passed in. Cursor position. All right, 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5. Okay, so that's really an index. The cursor position is 0 based, so I got to subtract one number from that, so I'm really at 5. Which makes sense because the test above it we were only at 4, right? All right, numbers to replace 0, and characters added 1 because I just added that 5. I assert. Now this should force me to fail. This code should fail. This test should fail. Force me to add more code. And then we'll add that code. We'll watch the unit test pass, and then we'll run the simulator to make darn sure that our unit test world and our simulator world are copacetic. All right. Sorry. Watcher dot on text changed. Oh, we called that. I'm just asserting equals that. We get 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5, and a dash. Will it happen, folks? Will we get this done in a prompt and orderly fashion, or will we be faced with some new quirk of something that we didn't predict before? Tune in now and find out. All right, kids, that looks pretty bloody easy, don't you think? That's a simple, bloody unit test compared to all those other ones. Yeah, I think they're looking a little bit nicer now. Okay, this one's still pretty big. We might have to think about a way to make that simple. All right, let's run the test, see? Let's watch this baby. I'm calling the shot in pool here. It should fail. I didn't write that code. I didn't add that functionality. All right, and now, another thing, you should be able to read the code that's down there. You should be able to read those. These things should make sense to you when you look at it. So on text watcher, user adds 5th. Well, I probably should make that a little bit smarter. Digit. And what should happen? So, all right, let's back up a little bit. User adds 5th digit. All right, on text change. Dash is added because user adds 5th digit, or user adds 5th digit, dash added. I think I want to say dash added because, and that's probably, this is just kind of weird looking. All right, I think that's okay. All right, and I just renamed the function. That's not a problem. I can hit run if you really care. Since it only takes 7 seconds, it's not too bad. If it took like, my God, what's going on? I might have to run, after the show, I'm going to run Zoom and Pop at the same time and see if maybe that's what's making my unit test run slow. I can't believe it, though. I don't. Something else is, maybe some improvements have been happening. I swear I did not update my Android Studio since the last show, and it's really running really well. I haven't had test runs this fast since Java. All right, so you can see it failed, and it says expected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dash, but all I got is all I did is get everything without a dash, which is we saw in the simulator. Now I'm being driven by my test. Yeah, it says the test. Yeah, go add that functionality. Yeah, and I go, all right. Okay, if we must, we must. So let's go into our code. In my text watcher class. Actually, here's the easy way, kids. Hold down the context key, the butterfly key. All right, so I'm in my product code. No, that's not product code, man. How did I miss this? Get me into Watcher. There we are. This is still a test. Why? Oh, it's taking me to what the declarative, and then I have to click on here, and then it gets me in the code. Okay. Fine, 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 fine. All right. All right, so all the action right now, as we're doing this, is on text change. Why do I have this interfacing stuff? I think that's all. Okay, I'm just marking things because I was confused in the past. I'll leave it there for now. And we've got this action state. Let's explain why that's there, because that's a little weird. Allows spying on Boolean state changes for unit testing. Okay, get some documentation in there. Assume we can do this now still. Oh boy, that didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. Okay. Now, it's all about this code now. So we had cursor position 2, we do something. On cursor position 3, we do something different because of a replacement. All right, so here's the idea, folks. We can put an or, I suppose, in here because it's the same idea. We're going to tell it not to. We're going to tell it to skip reentry and text change, append this, and then allow reentry and text change. And I think that will solve it. And then you can imagine when we have to handle delete, that'll be the next test we write. That'll happen there. Now let's try this. If cursor position is equal to that, or equal to whatever I said, 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5. That's cursor position, subtract 1, we're back to 5. All right, that'll add the dash. And I think our test will pass. Let's find out. Boom, test passed. All right, now, did the functionality actually work? Tune in? No, we'll do it. And Arctic Fox, baby, you launched the simulator really fast nowadays, so it's already launched. I love it. Just going like a Arctic Fox out of Antarctica. 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5, dash. That deserves a dab. My kids say I do that wrong, but what do they know? They don't actually even watch football, so they didn't even see the original dab. They learned it in school. Though that school actually has professional football cheerleaders in the faculty. So what am I? You know, what am I? Who am I to say that I'm doing it right? All right, so that worked. Now, of course, deleting doesn't. All right, so before we get sad, this is an opportunity to add another unit test. So there we go. We're going to add another unit test. Dash. So social security numbers only have 2 dashes. So second dash deleted, deletes number. Okay. Gotta set this up. So 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5, dash, error, see? Watcher. Okay. Now Android's happy. And we're going to do an act. Oh, we're not ready for the act. The user has to do something. The user has to delete dash. All right, I'm going to write this, and then we're going to come back and refactor this, because I know we have this happening all over the place, and we're going to say this. I mean, we're going to come back and refactor this so it's easier to read this. Text.box. Oops. Delete. All right, deleting's a little bit weird. I don't know. I and Android team, we're just not in sync. But they're gonna delete the dash. So, and then they have to add one more index on the end. So it's the start and the end. So you start deleting where the dash is, and then you go one more, even though there's not that many characters, and you put that one more in the end. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5, dash. Yes, developers count on their fingers. Now, I'm deleting this dash. And remember, I have to subtract 1 to start cursor position. We started counting at 0. So we start at 6. 6, 7 is where we're deleting. Okay? And then if we feel like a little unclear about that, folks, you can do this. Just add another assert. Double check yourself. 5. I'm just deleting the dash. Don't want to get, okay, I'm just the user deleting the dash. So I'm confirming the user deleted the dash. All right. So this is not the phone deleting the dash. This is the user. I just hit the backspace key. That means I'm deleting the dash. And that's it. That's it, folks. The code we write later, it's going to delete the other number. And it's going to be doing that via our on-text change code. So we're just doing the user's part here. And I'm double checking that I got these silly boundary conditions correct. And it's angry with me because I haven't finished it. Okay, text box, to string. There it is. All right, I'm pretty sure that'll pass. So we continue. Arrange, act. All right, so the user deleted it. Now it's time for the phone to help the user out and helpfully delete the other number. Remember, deleting second dash deletes number 2. Okay, so that's going to be, what are we doing here? Oh, it's the watcher. Dot on text change, and we pass in my parameters, which are, oh my goodness, I always forget these parameters, and it's not helping me. Why aren't you helpful? Why don't you tell me what the parameters are? You nice, there it is. Text edit, so characters in text edit. So I'm passing in my text box, comma, and cursor position. Back to that bloody cursor position computation. So we deleted something. The cursor is now at the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2. This is why I use my fingers, because I'm forgetting things. Like the dash. 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5. So the cursor's at position 1 less from this because it's 0 based at position 5. Comma, number of characters to replace. Think about this. In this current state, the user hit the backspace. So I'm actually doing it wrong. The cursor position should be 6 because it's at they hit the backspace. It hasn't deleted the dash yet on text change. It's kind of simultaneously happening here. So it's actually cursor position 6. We can check the other tests if we're not sure, but I'm pretty sure I got this right. Number of characters to replace. We're not yet handling the case where they could highlight several characters and delete them. Okay. Maybe we'll disable that. Who knows? Okay, count of characters added. How many characters were added? We're not adding characters, we're just deleting. How could you delete and add characters in the real world? Well, you copy some characters off of some other part of your app. You go to this text field, you highlight all those characters, and you paste. Now you're replacing a bunch of characters and you're adding a bunch of characters. Okay, but in this case, that's not it. We don't care about that case. Yes, text boxes are a lot of details to worry about, folks. Assert. Good news is we don't have to worry about them all at once. It's all built one by one. You saw all these shows. We write a few tests, we check in the code. We write a few more tests, we check in the code. We make it more and more sophisticated as we go. But we don't try to do it all at once, because that will drive you mad. And if you don't write tests when you do it, you will be debugging something like this forever. Just go look on Stack Overflow. You'll find implementations for this that are complicated. You copy paste them in your code. You'll either hope to God it works, because if you ever have to change it, you won't understand it. The comments are crap. The parameters are hard to understand or not understandable. It's not a good scene out there. So I'm swearing this is the cleanest version you're going to find out there on GitHub. And if you're wondering where on GitHub, look for LancerKind as the GitHub user, and you will see a repository called text social security number text watcher or something like that. All right, watcher dot. Sorry, I'm not doing a good job talking while coding. Assert equals. So what do we expect to happen, folks? You remember the whole point of all this? 1, 2, 3, dash. 4. We expect to get that 5 automatically deleted. Well, user deletes dash, automatically deletes the 5 too. Ta-da! Kind of like this IDE. It does a bunch of things automatically for me. Sometimes I'm liking it, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes we have to learn to work together. Okay, and I'm asserting that that's the text box to string. Okay? Now, don't be sad. This test is expected to fail. In fact, I would be sad if it passed because it's not ready for that. Where is my text test? Huh. I guess when I run the app, I lose my test view. Don't know how to get it back without doing this. Next show, you'll see if it was why. I'm going to update this. Not right before the show. This just came up. You might hear a rant next show again about, oh, Arctic Fog, made my life bad. Yeah. And shame on you, Arctic Fox. This orange color is not the same as red, man. Stoplights are red, not orange. Get with it. Right, David? He totally agrees with me. Totally agrees. All right, so there we are. Look, the dash got deleted by the user, and our function doesn't do anything. It just says, whatever, man. So now we're going to fix that. We're going to make this test pass by going into here, and our function own text change. Now, this is interesting. Oh, by the way, we can delete this because this got all TDD'd later. That comment is no longer true. We TDD'd that, baby. So this is an interesting case because just like this one up here, I feel like we just want to add the logic on the end. We want to reuse this same code because it says, well, we're going to tell it to set the skip on text change. Don't go back in here while I'm running this next command. Run the next command. Oh, but these are different parameters. All right, so it's not the same. So it's not the same. All right, well, that means we're going to write a new one. Cursor position equals. Let's double check. Remember I was saying earlier about cursor position? So we're going to reframe ourselves to the situation where we're doing the first dash. So 1, 2, 3, dash. That's 0, 1, 2, 3. So that the marker is at where the dash is. When the user hit delete, that's when it comes in here. And even though the user hit delete, the cursor position's still bloody there. You would never figure this out by reading any of the documentations because they don't say any of this stuff. You just got to write small test programs. Okay. So that means it's going to be at the dash for this further dash. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 dash, 4, 5 dash. So the cursor position is one less from this number because it's 0 based. So it's at 6. So if cursor position is 6 and number of characters to replace equals 1, and we're calling almost the same code. And all right, I'm going to test drive conundrum here. I know I want to add these babies. Why is this red? Cursor spelled wrong somehow. Oh, there's a C, R in the C. Oh, you see, they're trying to help me with editing too, and their functionality doesn't, and how I like to work don't work together. All right, so what I was saying is that remember these two. Those of you who watch past episodes will know that we had to do special careful things for these Booleans, right here and here. All right. So the test we wrote just now does not check for those Boolean states. If you're not a TDD or you just like, oh, screw it, I'm going to copy paste that stuff in there because I know I need it. Don't do it. First, you got to write the test before you add the functionality. So we're going to stick to that. And we'll come back and add that test so we can put the Booleans in. All right? We know we need the Booleans. So the cranky guy who says, no, just write the code in there. The problem is with that cranky guy, he doesn't listen to the cranky, like, wow, we forgot to add the test in because we didn't test drive the code, cranky guy. That cranky guy you don't want to mess with because remember, as time passes, from when you create the bug to the time you discover it, that costs a lot of money, a lot of time. And that guy's really cranky. But the first cranky guy who goes, no, I know the code is, that cranky guy, he just never remember that. He's not thinking about that. He just likes being cranky. We want to be effective, not just cranky. So we will test drive this. Anyways, this code, we're going to fix it so this test passes, but then we're going to go back to that test and enhance it so we go solve the Boolean issue. All right, what are we deleting again? 1, 2, 3, dash, 4, 5, dash. All right, so it's 0 based, 6 position, so we're going to go 6, 7. And that should make the test pass. Let's find out. And if I screwed this up, my test will know. So I feel pretty confident that whatever happens, my test will keep me out of trouble. As long as we tell the test about it. And it failed, so just didn't agree with what I did. So that means it probably keeping me out of trouble, I hope. Oh, so the functionality failed because it says 6, ends beyond length 6. Oh, because I'm not deleting the dash. I'm deleting the user already deleted the dash. Lance, you got to delete the number to the left of the dash. So we're up by 1. 5, 6. Remember, user deletes the dash. This program, right over there, deletes the number next to the dash. And the unit test told me in milliseconds, and I was able to follow what it was telling me. So that's the power of TDD. That just saved me a bunch of time. I would be running the simulator, and then the cranky guy who writes the code without writing tests would say, the code doesn't work. Now I got to go in the debugger. And then cranky guy's in the debugger for a long time. And then cranky guy goes home because he charged his boss a bunch of time to go into the debugger, waste time in there to debug something that he didn't have to because he didn't. If he wrote the unit test, he would have discovered it quicker. And those bloody unit tests will be checked in the source code so that tomorrow other people on the team will get the value of those same unit tests automatically. All right, so now there we are. The test passes. When we run it in the phone, it will not work unless we add those Booleans in. And if you want the proof, we could open up the phone and do it, and the phone will crash because it will run repeatedly. But we did this already several episodes ago. This is learning that we've retained. We do not need to do this again. So we're just going to write the test. And that's how TDD works. The more you understand what the heck it is you're doing, the faster you can go. And that's true with anything, to be frank. That's not a TDD thing. Okay, now I have to remember how to set up that. Okay, this is the case where we have to use, I have to create a, watcher has to be assigned to something that encapsulates that Boolean object. I don't remember how to do that off the top of my head, so I have to go look at the test. That did that. There we are, action state 007. Also known as the spy. Bump, 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 ba-dump. All right, I'm gonna copy this. David, don't you dare tell the copy-paste cop. And that's gonna be a big fat arrange. All right, action state 007. Let's read the code carefully. Adding dash recorder, override. Now this is going to override some functionality that's injected in that code. Set skip on text change, and this is going to record it. I don't actually have to change anything in here. It's going to do everything I need. Oh, I just have to add the assert. That's brilliant code, David. You did this. I want to change the name a little bit. I think I want to call it Boolean Spy 07. How about that? Okay, see if I remember how to do this. Shift F6. Oh yeah, maybe I'll get it right. Boolean. Oops. There we are. The spy who loved me. Now we're going to assert that the spy, we're going to go, hey, spy. When you were in there skulking around in our code, did you notice if the Boolean state was set to skip and then later unset? That's all we have to do. Wow. And that code is going to look like this. I think it's, I'm going to have to go look at the assert. Otherwise I'm going to muff it up. There it is, true, and then false. It's a little cryptic, but I was there remembering how that works. If you want to remember how it works, go look it up on the code. Assert equals, oh, I need a comma. And we got to ask our spy, Boolean spy 07. Do I need a two-string or something? What are you in there? A dash recorder or something like that. Is it adding dash recorder? It's a weird. I think that's it though. Dash recorder. I want to change that name too. I just want to call it dash recorder. Not adding dash recorder. I'm feeling like that's a little not pretty good name. Dash recorder. Okay. All right. Now, so it says sometime that spy observed it goes to true, and then it goes to false. Not in the other order. So it's ordered, it'll check, this is checking the order. All right, so if I run the test, this test will fail, and then we will add those skips, and then that cranky guy said, no, you write the code, because you can imagine what the code to write. You know you need to add it. That cranky guy can go away, because we got the test in, and we'll have the code. And we won't have to be in debugger land later. All right, so expected that was true, false, but got nothing, because hey, there's no Booleans action in there at all. So let's add the Boolean action. Oh, it's supposed to be set. Set. That's why. Okay. And what are those breakpoints from the days of yore? Okay, let's add a little bit of a white space like this. Don't think I need any else's. Should be okay. All right, let's run it. And if this test passes, we will run the app and we will see if it really, really works. Boom, test pass, 16. Run the app. What do you think, David? If this works, you owe me a pina colada. Boom, 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 boom. On walks in the rain. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's go here. It's a moment of truth. 1, 2, 3, dash. 4, 5, dash. Okay. Now what happens when I delete? Now, we haven't tested this. This might be how we start the next show if it doesn't work. Well, either way, we need a test for it, right? Like last show, what happens if I add a 5? Boom, it puts it back in. All right, guys, that's a show. Next show, we got to come back and add a test for that, adding it back in, and then finish off the next 3 digits. So you can see that this show went a lot smoother. Why? Because we learned a lot of stuff to get here. And it's already here. It's in there. Right, David? Yeah, he says yeah. And yeah, so that's the main point. The second point is we got a lot of code that works really tight. Tight meaning it's fitted to do the thing it's supposed to do. And for Social Security watching, this is going to do the trick. So let's see. Before we close the show, let's talk about what we learned. And that is in, do I write that in the test case? I've forgotten. All right, episode. What episode are we? We are episode something. 38 probably. Since I don't see episode 38. Okay. Episode 38, colon. Weird things today. What I learned. Unit test launch. Launched in, David, I can't believe it, 7 seconds. What the hell? That's like the way they're supposed to be. I don't know why they're fast, but I can say what's different than last time. I wasn't using Zoom or Pop. I don't think those things would cause that. That doesn't make sense to me. But I'm just writing down, I'm not trying to, I don't know why. So anyways, if it was a magical thing that happened, I would love to know what it is, because, oh, that's a lot better. Well, I'm using Robo Electric. If Robo Electric had some kind of like amazing performance improvement, that would explain that. It could also be, Robo Electric, I think, uses reflection type functionality. If somehow Kotlin runtime changed, which I swear I wasn't intentionally updating it, but if I accidentally did it, wow, I kind of like it. Okay. Let me actually write those things down so next week I remember. Did Robo Electric improve? Did Kotlin runtime? Reflection? Wow. Whatever happened, I'm loving it. Yep. Let's see what happens next week, David. What else? I don't know. I'm just going to say this. Really easy to add functionality when you know what to do. And that's because we spend a lot of time learning. You see those previous episodes, the pace was a lot different and a lot of like, wow, why did that happen? And whoa, I don't get this, blah, blah, blah stuff happening. All right, cool. And that's it, folks. I can't think of anything else I would do. So that was a good, short, tight episode. Next episode, we're going to add in the probably finished at least the adding of numbers. Then we'll have to figure out if we're going to use, hey you, there's a small person here. I'm closing up the show, just come back later. Yes, that's David. He's got his cocktail. So what was I talking about here? Sorry, folks. Yes, we're gonna try to finish up the number part. And there's been talk about masking. Like, should we have a mask? Can we put a mask in the background that shows the like XXX for the numbers and then the dashes are filled in? Basically, we're making our life more complicated, but it looked better. So from a designer and a user perspective, whenever you fill in a Social Security number, aren't you comforted when you can see 3 white spaces and then a dash and then 2 white spaces and a dash? It kind of tells you that the field, it's telling you something about what's going to happen when you start typing on that field. Phone number, same thing. They start out with parentheses and they put in the dashes for you. When it works well, it works great. When it doesn't work well, they're a pain in the butt. Like those of you who's Outlook web access and you're like trying to change the times of the meeting with the editor and it's trying to like put in the AM PM for you and it's like it screws up. They don't have test cases for this. It makes my like I put in 8 o'clock, I'll put 8 colon and then for some reason it jumps to the AM and then I type 00 and it's typing to AM 00. It doesn't make any sense. It totally messes it up and I have to like fight it a little bit until I make it work. All right, cool. Hey folks, have a good day. We're Xing out. David, come on, bend your arms. David, do it, do it, do it.